Good morning guys and welcome to another episode of Video Game News, the show bringing you the latest and the freshest from the world of video gaming. But today we are going to be taking a look at the E3 Microsoft conference which happened just yesterday and summarizing everything they talked about. Now, as far as I went to say that EA was somewhat disappointing of an opening, Microsoft this year sure did their best to bring it back, revealing over, what was it, like around 50 games I think, 15 of which were world premieres and 18 of which were Xbox exclusive. So we definitely have a whole bunch to talk about. Now unfortunately, because this conference is so long and had so many games, I'm gonna have to kind of rush through some of these titles and just go at a bit faster pace than I did in the EA conference, just because I do not want to be here for like an hour and a half. But anyways, starting from the top, they began by introducing Halo Infinite. They showed this cinematic trailer and they didn't really tell us much else. It's running on the Slipstream engine, but it looked interesting from the cinematic. We didn't really get much else though, so moving on, we got a bit more information on Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and once again the visuals for this look really beautiful. I mean, they kept the art style from the first one and kept improving it with dynamic lighting and really cool depth of field effects in the environment and in the animations as well. Now next up we got something from Software, I suppose. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, which, looking at it, looks pretty much like Dark Souls but with samurai. Now it does maintain all the classics of Dark Souls, having large bosses, what looks like difficult combat, however this time a lot more acrobatic. With the addition of what looks like a grappling hook, you're able to hook onto enemies and sling yourself towards them or move around the environment, and it definitely looked like a very interesting experience. With this also came an in-game cinematic trailer. Now the next thing was kind of a surprise when Todd goddamn Howard walks on stage in the middle of a Microsoft conference. What is this? Presenting a little bit of Fallout 76, even though his own conference is gonna be like 4 hours from then. Anyways, he walks up on the stage, they play a new cinematic trailer, and they don't really tell us much else, mostly just saying that it is going to be up to 4 times the size of Fallout 4, which, wow, that already sounds like a big claim. And in this cinematic trailer, showing multiple people, which most likely alludes to Fallout 76 in fact being multiplayer, at least to some extent. Next up we got a small addition from Dontnod, the people behind Life is Strange, called Captain Spirit, and believe it or not, this game also does take place in the Life is Strange universe. It follows a story of what looks like a young kid and his relationship with his father, who lives somewhere pretty cold. It looks like Alaska maybe, and this kid apparently makes up stories in which he has superpowers or something. It was kind of hard to understand from the trailer that they showed. Didn't really talk much about it, but it definitely looked like an interesting experience and a cool addition to the Life is Strange universe. On top of that, the game will be available on June 26th, and get this, as far as I understood it, it is going to be free. No payment required, so there is absolutely no reason, if you like the Life is Strange games, not to get your hands on it. And next up we touched a bit on Crackdown. It's going to be coming out in February 2019, and we didn't really get anything new besides Terry Crews again. It's got all the good jazz of explosions, power up, and in one scene they also showed a vehicle riding up the side of a building, so I guess that's a thing now. And moving on from there, Nier Automata is getting some additional DLC. I didn't really get much of this because I don't play the game, and they only showed a very short cinematic, but hey, if you have the game, there's a DLC coming. Following that, we finally get to something really exciting, and that is Metro Exodus. They definitely showed us more in this cinematic slash gameplay trailer that was all shot in engine. Now, it is clear that the game is very much based around the train, and as far as I understand, the train is going to drive from location to location, with each location being its small open worldy area. Now it has all the good stuff from the previous Metros as seen in the trailer. You know, you wiping your masks, you upgrading your weapons with from your backpack on the go, and there's also a fair bit of shooting in the trailer, but a showcase of stealth and range weapons does make me think that you will once again be able to take the stealth approach, which was a very important thing in the previous Metro games. And the release date has also been set for February 22nd of 2019. And next up, they talked a little bit about Kingdom Hearts 3. Now I know this is a game that a lot of people are going to be really excited about, and looking at the gameplay, you know, we didn't get that much revealed, But what we did get is a whole bunch of characters, of course, you know, the usual stuff that you would expect from Disney and from Final Fantasy and all that beautiful stuff. On the topic of games getting DLC from Nier Automata, Sea of Thieves is also getting a DLC. In fact, as far as I understood, there were two separate DLC packs. They showed a short in-game cinematic, something about forbidden lands, skeletons, pirates, whatever, and the release dates for both of these are going to be in 2018, one in July and one in September. Now next up we got the promised showcase from Battlefield 5 of the Norwegian Resistance, but this was pretty underwhelming. They only showed a small cinematic with the female main protagonist, and they didn't really give us anything else, which does kind of make me wonder why it was there at all. But hey, it showed one of the war stories, and it looked interesting, it looked engaging, and very similar to Battlefield 1. Now next up we got Forza Horizon 4, and you know, Forza is one of those games I never really got too much into, but this one might actually break me because what they said is very interesting. Now of course you get the classics. They showed some almost realistic looking driving. It's going to be set in historical Britain, but what really got me is that it is going to be in one shared open world where you're going to be able to run into other players seamlessly and engage in co-op. This is going to be further supported by adding features such as big world events and seasons which are set for all people around the world for that open world, which change dynamically and change how the environment behaves. Let's say a lake can freeze over and give you access to areas that were otherwise inaccessible during the winter. On top of that, if all of this makes you excited, you're going to be able to get your hands on the game on October 2nd, which is just around the corner, and it will also be included as part of the Xbox Game Pass. For the next section, Microsoft quickly touched up on new studios they have acquired, saying that they're starting a new studio called The Initiative in Santa Monica, and besides that, they've acquired Undead Labs, Playground Games, Ninja Theory, and Compulsion Games. So there you go. Go for it, Microsoft. Leave some of these studios for the rest of us. Jesus. Moving on, we got a short cinematic trailer for We Happy Few. I mean, I don't think anything really new was revealed here, but the graphics look interesting, they look colorful, and if you're really longing to get your hands on this, you're going to be able to do just that on August 10th, 2018. Next up, they bring out PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Apparently, they will be adding some modes to this and adding this war mode to it. It wasn't really explained, they just showed the cinematic. But they will also be adding 3 or 4 new terrains that you can battle in. Following that, they show a very quick cinematic for Tales of Vesperia with very anime looking graphics and a release that's set for this winter. I really don't have anything else to say here, and if it feels like I'm going through these way too fast, trust me, so were they. After this, we get a bit of a bigger title with Division 2. Now, once again, we didn't get too much information. They showed a gameplay trailer similar to what Anthem did, where the players are like actual players, they don't pretend to be in the game. And once again, it showed very interesting and engaging gameplay. However, I am kind of hard pressed to believe all of this, as remember how the previous Division did the same thing and then like half of it wasn't true at release. So I would keep my hype levels down for this now and wait and see for the release and the reviews to come in and see if it's actually a good game. Now following this, they talked a little bit about the Xbox Game Pass, which I have nothing to say on. You can buy it, it's subscription based, and it gives you access to over 100 games, quoting the presenter at that time. Next up, we got a cinematic for Shadow of the Tomb Raider, with the visuals looking surprisingly a lot like Uncharted 4, at least in my opinion. And you get all the stuff of environments, platforming, climbing, hunting, and what looked like some supernatural stuff towards the end. Nothing too groundbreaking, but if it maintains the good combat and playstyle and gameplay from the previous games, I don't see a reason why not to pick it up if you were a fan of the previous two. Now next up, they showed Session, which is a skateboarding game that is totally not Skate 4, even though it's actually Skate 4. Next up, they showed a bit of Black Desert. Now, I don't even know if this was DLC or what exactly. They showed a cinematic, I guess to just remind people that the game exists. And then they simply moved on without any explanation whatsoever. If you watch the presentation, you will know that they've done that with a lot of games this year. After this, Capcom is showing us up with Devil May Cry 5. Now, for all of you who hoped for the return of the classical Dante, you're probably going to be disappointed because we're getting the short-haired version. But, you know, if you're a fan of those neon-style-ish looking visuals, killing demons, and you want to play this game in early 2019, go for it because that is exactly what you're gonna get. And on terms of getting, Cuphead is getting a new DLC called The Delicious Last Course, which will add new challenges, new weapons, and a new playable character. After this, they showed a game called Tunic, where you play as a small fox with like an asymmetric camera, and they didn't really explain much about this. At some point, someone said that this was made by one person, but I do not have that confirmed, and I can't be sure, but it looked like your classical adventure, small puzzles, cute graphics looking type of game. Then they showed Jump Force, which was really weird in the showcase because you see this shot of the dilapidated city and all of a sudden there's Naruto in front of it. But anyways, it's a fighting game by Bandai Namco and it has all the good stuff. It has characters from Dragon Ball, characters from Naruto, characters from One Piece, and characters from Death Note. That's at least all the ones that we saw in the trailer, and it looks like your classic typical fighting game in a post-apocalyptic world. And if you're a fan of post-apocalyptic worlds, you're probably gonna like the next announcement, which is Dying Light 2. Now for all of you who like zombies and who like parkour, they are coming back in Dying Light 2 with several improvements to the environment, to the graphics, and to the movement system, and also something that they touched on which was rather interesting is how they plan to incorporate actual player choice and how it changes the environment. So they went through this example where you could accept a mission and do it one way or accept a mission and do it another way, which would completely change the entirety of the city's environment, and it looked pretty interesting in the showcase. But it's one of those things where I think we'll have to wait and see how it's actually carried out. And then they showed Battletoads. That's it. The whole announcement took like 10 seconds. I couldn't even write down all the features that the game has because they just like listed them out and immediately moved on. So, Battletoads. And then coming out of nowhere, Just Cause 4 is suddenly announced. Okay. It looks very similar graphics-wise to Just Cause 3 in my opinion. However, this time it looks like it's taking place in, once again, more of a jungle environment. It actually reminded me of Panau from Just Cause 2 quite a bit, except it looks better visually. And you get all the classical stuff back. You know, you get your grappling hook, you get your wingsuit from Just Cause 3, and you cause a lot of destruction. Also, there are tornadoes now. You will be able to get your hands on this puppy on December 4th, 2018, so also pretty soon. Then we got to a plethora of Gears releases. First we are getting Gears Pop, which is this cute graphics looking Gears of War game for your mobile. And then we're also getting Gear Tactics, which is also a Gears game for your PC based on looking very similar to like XCOM style of gameplay. But yeah, they skimmed through both of these really fast as well. And finally, yes, we are also getting Gears of War 5, and quoting them, it's the most beautiful and biggest world they have ever created. They showed a cinematic trailer which shows the female main protagonist, and also a lot more of the usual brutal gameplay that we've all come to love and like. But at the same time, there seemed to be a very, very big deal of storytelling and character design in this one, following the main protagonist and her quest to do something. I wasn't exactly clear about that, but that may also be because I am not a huge Gears of War fan, so... Okay, it was at this point in the presentation where they have completed everything. It looked like they were gonna quit. He was thanking everyone for attendance, all was good, and then all of a sudden your screen starts glitching, the whole freaking place turns red and black, and of course, we get the biggest announcement of the evening, at least for me personally, Cyberpunk 2077.
Thanks. And have a great Easter.
Now before you lose all of your crap, they didn't actually show us that much. We got a big cinematic trailer which I'm sure people are going to be able to analyze the hell out of. But we are getting narration from what I presume to be the male main protagonist who lives in the city and is not a big fan of the city. And a whole lot of cool imagery of like this retro futuristic weapons, you know, cyberpunk, as well as very good looking environments. I'm not sure if this is running on the same engine that Witcher 3 did, but all I can tell you is that it looks really good. And that was the conclusion to the Microsoft presentation. This thing felt really packed, and even though they went through it super fast, it still felt like the longest thing ever. So my apologies if you felt like I went through some of these tasks or some of these games really fast, but it's just that they did a very similar thing. You know, over 50 games, you have to pack it together. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to check back in for more. Now make sure to do more. Maybe consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. All of those would be very much appreciated. I want to wish you all a bit of a rest off today, and I'm going to see you in whatever next video I make. Bye bye.